Yes, and there it is, the wonderful opening shot here as we get set for an afternoon of ultimate here at the World Games 2025 in Chengdu. A very good afternoon to you wherever you might be enjoying these pictures. This wonderful facility here, the Chengdu Sports University campus, host here for this wonderful sport of ultimate. We've had some wonderful matches already today, and we have another two in prospect here this afternoon that are certainly going to resonate around China and perhaps have a big impact as well later on who goes through to the all-important semi-finals tomorrow. The good news is that Robin Fenning is dropping by to join me in co-commentary today. Good afternoon, Robin. Welcome back, and a big afternoon in prospect.
Yeah, this afternoon we've got two matches, the first of which features the United States versus the home nation of China. You know, thus far we don't have as big of a crowd as we've seen the last two games for the Chinese team, but we still have a pretty sizable crowd. I'm expecting the home crowd to get very excited about any of the big plays we could be seeing on the pitch in just a few moments.
I saw the Chinese come in just a little while ago, actually, and although, as you say, the stadium not nearly as full as it was yesterday for China's debut here, it certainly was an enthusiastic welcome they got. Big news here, Robin, the weather today, 35 degrees, it's really ticking over, getting quite warm. Humidity, fortunately, 47%, but it feels a little bit warmer than that.
Right, and I think it has a lot to do with how variable the cloud cover has been. You know, the afternoon games, we've gotten a bit more shade as the sun rotates behind the stadium, offering some refuge from the intense heat and sun conditions for the athletes and coaching staff. But right now, it's kind of weirdly overcast, but I am expecting that we're still going to have those heat hydration breaks in the first and second half to allow all the athletes to rehydrate in this game.
So there we are then, the Chinese spectators in around us, looking forward to, I'm sure, to a big afternoon. As Robin was saying, it's USA versus China and then Colombia versus France, the two next big games here, which we're looking forward to. Excitement in the crowd already, Robin.
Yeah, there's actually somebody in the stadium who is really, before every single game, really trying to get the entire crowd into the game. But with this Chinese crowd, we're getting that call and response extra loud. So again, energy is already rising.
That's good. Good news. And China's going to need it today because I tell you what, Team USA pretty red hot here. And if you're a pundit, you're probably putting all your money on the USA team.
Yeah, the thing that makes the United States so difficult to game plan around is that their 14-person roster has so many contributors in so many ways. Every player can play multiple roles on offense and defense. And so if there's one player who has a good matchup, they can run the offense through them, and multiple folks creating a lot of defensive energy and pressure for their opponents. China's really going to have to be clean and efficient with their offense and not give the U.S. defending line a lot of chances to score.
Let's just have a quick look at the way into this showdown today. USA, of course, in the first round defeated Japan 13-8, went on then to beat by universal point Germany 13-12. China defeated as well in its two rounds by Germany firstly 13-8 and then by Japan 13-8 as well. So it's 0-2 at the moment as we look at our on-field officials, Robin, and their special job for those just joining us who might not know too much about Ultimate.
Yes, these folks are our game advisors. They're not active officials who weigh in and make active calls on the field of play. They are there to kind of provide more advice and clarification about the rules, offer perspective if asked, but the players are actually in charge of officiating this game, so they call their own fouls and violations and have to work that out with their opponents, even as the pressure and temperatures get high.
Well, you can hear then a little bit of a roar in the background as the Chinese fans welcome both teams out here onto this magnificent Chengdu Sports Stadium. And some of the big names of Team USA are there as well. And a couple of big names in this Chinese lineup that we're going to be looking out for as well. Your player of the tournament so far for China is the number 14, Zhu.
And honestly, yesterday, the handling play of Bob Liu and his ability to go from the backfield, downfield for big gains on offense, really added some depth to the Chinese offensive attack. I thought he worked really effectively with his teammates honestly to relieve some of the pressure that Xu had in the earlier games this tournament.
Just running through some of the big name Americans here. Carolyn Finney, the co-captain. Rafi Hayes there as well alongside him. Anna Thompson got the paint on this afternoon, and this guy as well, we associate him with that. Dylan Freechild, the number 23. 31 is Kosher, one of the co-captains here for Team USA. Coulton alongside of him, and then a big name, Henry Ing, one of the two Ing brothers in this combination as well. Claire Trope, you can't go past Team USA without nominating her or this player as well, Claire Chastain. Watch out for those two, they'll make a big impact, as will the guy in the 79 number here, Michael Ing, absolute stalwart of this team. And this guy as well, Brownlee, Robin, he's certainly stepped up in recent days.
Yes, and Marquez Brownlee offers something really unique for the offensive attack. He's a very tall handler who can break the mark at will. And if the U.S. does have a turnover, having him to defend against quick transitions in the deep space is a luxury for this United States team.
So Joe then being introduced to the crowd, way alongside him, and getting a very warm reception as well. Zhong, the number 9. Zheng here. Wang is in number 12 today. And here's Xu, going to be a target up front today for sure. He's going to be on his game to be able to take delivery of a lot of the stuff that he's going to get. This guy marshalling at the back, 20, Mao, important. Liu as well here. Watch out for him, really speedy around the park. Guo at 23, another solid contributor to this Chinese side. Gao here, and then Captain Li stepping up, and what an afternoon for he and the rest of the team. Zhou here at 66, Li in is at 95, and Zhong 99. Handy lineup, and obviously full of enthusiasm, Robin.
In the Chinese offense between the two games has shown some very interesting versatility. You know, most teams keep the same players closer to the disc and concentrate a lot of the disc touches to those same players. However, China had a big shift between who their main thrower was from their first game against Germany to their second game against Japan. I wasn't super surprised to see Li, number 59 from China, in the backfield a lot. His handling style of quick give-goes where he really accelerates the pace of offense was leveraged. We got to see that on display in the second half against Japan yesterday. If the United States continues to stick with that tight matchup defense, I think that they've got a few different folks who can kind of quarterback their offense from the backfield.
A very powerful US lineup there. And for China, a fantastic learning curve for them as they get hold of this national team and this important appearance here at the World Games. A wonderful opportunity for them to measure themselves against the best. There you can see the record so far of Team USA, that universal win over Germany, and perhaps a harbinger of things to come. Here's the People's Republic of China lineup, and as Robin says, certainly some highlights and some spots within that team that we're going to be seeing a little bit of this afternoon.
And it looks like that China is going to be starting on defense, pulling from the left-hand side of your screen as soon as the cameras zoom out a bit.
So they will take hold of the disc. Looks like Gao is going to do the job here and invite Team USA to have a crack.
On the line for the U.S., we have Marquez Brownlee starting in the backfield with Anna Thompson. I've really enjoyed watching their chemistry as handlers develop throughout this national team campaign.
Well, here is Brownlee, just looking for some options on the inside. Moving around at the moment. Chastain is there, of course. And going long already And it's grabbed by the USA. And Trope is there, as she always is, to accept the disc.
I think that deep throw was intended for Claire Trope. You can see after the result of that play, Anna Thompson acknowledging that Rafi Hayes bailed her out on that throw. The throw was kind of angled backwards, caught a little too much air, and you can see that Rafi Hayes has to box out his defender. And Claire Trope was in the right spot just to get a quick completion of that scoring sequence. Nice grab by Rafi.
Good work by Team USA. So they're off to a clean start. It's 1-0 here. 1-2-0. And Trope, a stalwart of this team. Hayes as well. So having scored, if you're new to Ultimate, the American team now, Team USA, will provide the Chinese offense with their chance to come and have a crack. And again, there's a breach here, which the Chinese have indicated, Robin.
Yes, there's an offsides penalty called against the United States defensive line. The defense is not allowed to cross the front of the end zone from which they're pulling until the disc is in the air. And so the game advisor signaled that they were offsides. China accepted that, so they get the disc at the brick mark 20 meters in front of their end zone.
Okay, so here comes China then. Let's see what they can do. Zhang with the disc, and a mistake already. And down goes this amazing D side, this American team. Oftentimes we've seen them in recent tournaments, Robin, when they basically effectively complete matches in their own right, this defensive team from USA.
Yes, and again, the thing that makes the defense so tough from the United States is that all 14 of their players are playing offense and defense, so you can't get too comfortable.
China going long here, looking for some options. Zhao just denied. Once again, USA comes away with things here. Going through. Free Child, looking like the overlap player here, which he is. Comes through, looks for some options this side. Finney looking inside, looking down the line. And that's nice cross field by Henry Ying. Little wide perhaps, but I wonder whether the foot just trails in, Robin.
It's very difficult to see if he was touching the line at all with any part of his toe. He's going to the game advisor asking for perspective. Probably going to see this replay. Henry Ying kind of bends the disc up, and he does not put enough angle on the disc. So the disc stayed high in the air, but caught a little bit of wind. You can see right there, he wants it to be a little bit faster and lower, but he releases it a bit too flat.
So brother to brother.
To me, it looks like he puts his right foot down at about the same time.
They're giving it. He's going to get it, Robin.
And it seemed like the game advisor said that she didn't have perspective. It was too close for a call from their perspective. And so it seems like China actually retracted the out of bounds call, and Ying believing that he had that back foot down first inbounds, calling it a goal. The U.S. gets a break. Well,
it was a very deliberate effort by him, wasn't he? He was very conscious where he was.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's a skill that's very underrated, kind of at the tier of play just below the national team play, that players looking to kind of take that next step up when they're playing their local scrimmages or playing 3-on-3 or 4-on-4. That's a skill that you can easily practice when you're practicing towing the sideline or trying to jump in or tow the end zone in a smaller, faster paced setting.
So Team USA come away with the break. And now they serve it up to the Chinese O. So China needs to respond here. Beautiful hang time on this big pull down the park. China next. Big opportunities way downfield if they want to go there. At the moment, the US defense is pressing hard. Slight infraction.
Looks like there's a pick off disc, so the disc will stay where it is. and then the downfield defensive player gets to adjust their position and catch up had they not been obstructed and restart from that position.
Mao has the disc, taps it out, gets things underway. Over to this side, and a big lunge there by Gao, just couldn't keep it under control. Team USA with another opportunity here. All sorts of options going forward, and they'll take it again. Anna Thompson over the line for Team USA, hooking up there with Grant Lindsley.
And Anna Thompson looks to get the disc back into play very quickly. And that offensive attack and transition, so quick. We get another look at this play. Oh, great grab. Wasn't able to get the disc or her foot in bounds. Anna Thompson looks to get the disc in play immediately. This fast break transition. Anna Thompson just finds the front cone. Quick break.
Here we go, US! Pressure up!
Okay, Team USA getting set on the line.
Get red, get red!
There's our scorer. It's 3-0 at the moment, as you can see.
The Chinese offense really hasn't been able to overcome the poaching of the United States defense, struggling to get the disc over the top and through the defense.
So China going to bring it back. Wang plays it off, back to Wang. Inside, and an absolute turnover again here now. And around the corner, and inside, and that's it. Another fantastic score for Caroline Finney.
You know, somebody asked me, what would you, if you were, you know, coaching a team like the United States or Canada that were playing games that weren't consequential for whether they were going to, you know, continue into the semifinals. They've already clinched their pool. What would your focus be? And I think what we're seeing from the United States is what I would say. You want to force short field turnovers. So you can see that the offense only has to go about 15 meters to get a score and to transition quickly so that only a couple people are working hard at any one given time. So I really like that the U.S. defense is forcing China to have to reset the disc before they can go forward, and they're willing to just fast break quickly, get two or three players working really hard in transition while the rest of the team kind of gets to rest. I think that's a very smart way of playing in this type of game where you probably have the advantage and you can save legs for tomorrow's semifinal matchup.
Yeah, and that's going to be very, very important as well, because obviously Team USA waiting for the winner of tonight's game between France and Colombia, and I would say that they're going to bring a bit of intensity to the field here, either of those teams.
Yes, and the last game for tonight, we've got very interesting, different styles of play where honestly both teams' strengths also overcome the other team's defensive weaknesses.
Wow.
So it's going to be really interesting. First of all, you have a Colombian team that is playing at full force, really found their rhythm, their tempo, their confidence yesterday. They're playing very effectively, where they run primarily through their women matching players. France, they may be playing down a woman matching player. It's unclear if Tiffaine Lachi is going to play. It's going to be a game time decision if she can pass the medical tests. So if they're playing down a woman matching player, that's one fewer person in the defensive rotation to limit that fast-paced offensive movement of Colombia. And then you have a French offense that likes those big, athletic grabs that they put up into space for their man-matching players. And Colombia showed in that first game when they were really challenged in the deep space by Canada that they really couldn't stop those big, tall, athletic man-matching players.
That's absolutely, and I personally think that's probably going to be the difference tonight, but I remain to be corrected.
And we really have yet to see Valeria Cardenas, who is probably the best thrower in the world, connect on deep shots. That's really her signature, is kind of this inside-out flick huck out to space, and we have yet to see her even attempt to make that throw. Offensively, they've really leaned into their small ball, which kind of requires all of their teammates to work really hard all the time.
And what about about this terrifying, defense into attack mode that the Colombians can go into. Do you think they're going to be able to keep the French at 6s and 7s with that sort of style where they just turn around defense into offense very, very quickly?
You know, the one thing, I think I mentioned the same thing about Marquez Brownlee for the United States. The man-matching handlers on France's offense, if they do have a turnover, they have folks who are very strong defenders able to push into the end zone and slow down that offensive strike in transition. They're able to force Colombia to keep the disc under for short passes. I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup.
It's going to be fabulous. Anyway, here we are back down here at this wonderful Chengdu University, Sports University. It's the World Games 2025. It's Team USA, the #1 seeds here, perennial champions at mixed ultimate. And they're leading against host nation China at the moment. They're up 4-0. They've come back from a water break. China's going to have to get moving. I'll tell you what, if they can get something on the score, that'll be the first effort, and that will really bring the crowd into play. But at the moment, Claire Trope has got the disc in hand and will get things underway. So here comes the Japanese then. Chinese, excuse me. Okay, on to Mao. Mao setting up something wide, giving some options on the inside. Mao on the end of it again. Going long. And China scored their first goal, and they are absolutely thrilled. Zhou on the end of it. Mao sent it long. And China pull one back.
I really loved that high release inside forehand that Gua threw out to space to Mao. You know, Chris Kocher is preventing a backhand or an easier throw into the backfield. And so I love how fearless that Gua was with putting the disc out to space. And that led his thrower to be able to get power position, assess the field. Wow, what a great throw. Really nice offensive sequence for the Chinese offense.
Certainly, it could be the start of something. Let's see whether they can consolidate. For the moment, however, they have to get the disc back to the USA offensive side. But that's a good win over the very powerful USD. So back we come. Team USA in control at the moment. They lead 4-1 in this first half of this battle against host nation China. Free child just looking for some options. Ing on his inside. Up the side here to Finney, looking infield. Got Rafi Haynes lurking around up in the end zone if he wants to go there. Lindsley looking for some options. Here he is again. Goes inside. Finney now looking forward. Two big options up front if the USA want to go there. Free child spotted them in a glance. Finney across to Freechild. See what he goes. Rafi Hayes indicating he's open. He wants the disc. Here's Ing. Sees Freechild on the inside. Freechild looking at options. Ing now. Rafi Hayes has moved back into the red zone. Across to Lindsay. More options up front. Two of them, in fact. Indications that Rafi Hayes is still open. All that they've got to do is get it to him on this left wing side. Don't need to do it. Being ignored at the moment as this man, Grant Lindsley, jumps in for the US's next goal. That's 5. Team USA traveling comfortably at the moment.
And Chinese defensive scheme there was a zone defense, and they were really trying to force the United States to have to work more deliberately in a slower pace, more patiently. And in that possession, the United States had to complete 26 passes before they were able to score. And if you're China, that's a big win defensively. You want to just force them to work hard. Remember, it's very hot and very humid. The more passes that they have to throw, the more cuts they have to make. That is a win for this Chinese defense.
So China not written off yet by Robin early in the first half. See if they can unleash their attacking weapon. Zhu here as well. Brownlee with the disc. Big, powerful pull. Gives them lots of time to get underneath it. Look at Lindsley motor up this park. He's all over the disc. He's going to be right there in the faces of the Chinese. And Brownlee as well, the two of them are put on an absolute sprint to get down there and cover the Chinese options. But they come down the line, China. Once more and around the corner. This looks nice. On the inside, Zhu is free. There he is. Options on the far side. This is Zhu again. It's wonderful by China. They've got their second and they're thrilled, Robin.
You know, I was really impressed by the way the throwers on that far sideline were willing to step around their defender to break the mark. Here we get a couple more looks at those, opening up that cross-field throw from Xu, and Zhou found her second goal already. What a great offensive performance the last two possessions that China has gotten.
Good stuff. Well, we mentioned his name, of course, and number 14, Zhu, has been one of your go-to guys as far as the Chinese team is concerned. If he can start stepping up a little bit here, he could be the difference.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's because he's also a thrower. He's not just a receiver. He's able to put a lot of touch on his throws. He's a great distributor, lots of different release points. His coaches have been so impressed by how he has developed his throwing game in the preparation for the World Games.
Here we go. So it's China pulling one back on Team USA. Team USA lead 5-2. China will invite them to come back and have a crack at this defensive side. So Team USA gets set to come back up this wonderful field. This is Finney. And again, a wonderful, just out of range, however. Cami Groom looking inside. Groom trying to spoil things here, but China going to try and come back on them. So can they turn the tables on the American offense? This would be a great get if they could do it. Being harried at the moment. Wei, options, comes back. China looking for some angles. Need to get going. Wei again. Crowd are loving this. Wei, nice work. Brave. Onto Zhang. Looking for options on the outside she goes. Wei there providing some alternatives if she needs it. Setting up. Tough marking by the Americans. Liu here on the outside. Trying to get an overlap. Liu again. Open on the inside. China harassing the US defense coming at them. China moving the disc around the corner, and that is beautiful by Liu. That is sensational by Liu. He'll have that.
You know, the thing that I'm so impressed by is not just that layout catch, but quite honestly, the handling play of the women matching players on this defensive line. We got to see so many more touches by Wei and Gao. I love their pump fakes, how balanced they are. They're very quick, but never rushed with their throws. And that opens up the opportunity to send Liu downfield to get open in the end zone. I want that guy in the end zone as often as I can as a thrower. I want him to be able to score all the goals because he has such a big catching range. We got to see that on display in every single game so far.
I tell you what, I think he'd probably love to be down there as well, just quietly, Rowan.
I would love to throw goals to Liu. What a receiver, like what a gift to get to play with a player of that athleticism.
So after an early break and some pretty powerful performances, it's Team USA that find themselves now just 2 goals in front, and a mix-up here between Brownlee has caused China with another option here. So China just got to stay tight, stay tough, stay patient, as Robin has been saying. They've got the flicks, they've got the throws to do this. Here comes China again, pressing the USA. Around the corner, Zhou here, inside, up to Liu. Coming around the corner, oh, beautiful bobble, but controlled by Guo. Guo holds on, got options, got to move it. Despairing lunge. USA turns it around. Brownlee is free. He's going to be double tacked, but Brownlee big enough and range enough to hold it. Here he comes, sets up. Brownlee does it.
You know, when China got the possession, that opportunity for that short field turnover, all I thought was if I was on China, I would not want to throw anywhere near Marquez Brownlee's matchup because he was part of that turnover sequence that gave them the opportunity. Honestly, as a defender, if you're a strong defender and you've messed up on offense, you are going to do whatever it takes to get the disc back. And then as soon as the United States gets the disc back, Brownlee is streaking deep. Kocher honestly kind of gave a subpar throw to Marquez, but again, like you mentioned, Marquez Brownlee excellent in the air, and if you're gonna miss in any way, miss high. And so that's smart throwing decision by Chris Kocher. And then I love that Marquez got to complete the sequence by throwing the assist to Anna Thompson, because that's where that initial miscommunication was.
But we're loving this, aren't we, Robin? I mean, China is plucky. I mean, they're having a crack here. They're not lying down for the USA. So here they come again. Let's see whether this Chinese O can get up and have a crack again. Liu has been a bit of a star already for this team. Here comes China. Liu inside. USA really pressing. Look at the D on this D side. They pride themselves so much. Liu around the corner, looking for some options. Zhang going to try and come inside. Not over the advantage line yet. They've got to try and get some vectors happening. They do. Zhang downfield. There's some options. She's not going to go there yet. Liu will do the job. Infield, across, nice, in front of him. This is good. This is good. They're going to fly. They do fly. They fly big time. Zhu is on the end of it.
Wow, and she was able to make the catch before Dylan Freechild closed in behind to make that poach block. I thought that was, to use your word, Brendan, a plucky throw. A lot of grit there with Dylan Freechild closing in. What an excellent grab.
And it's your boy Zhu again.
Again, showing how dynamic he is as an athlete. He's not just good in the air. He's willing to hit the ground, and honestly, a lot of tall players are kind of unwilling to lay out, and he's showing that he can throw his body around in all planes, in all directions.
China is not going to be messed with. They've got their 4 goals already.
You know, Wei has been such a breath of fresh air, getting so many more reps in the backfield. She is really driving this offensive attack for China. I really love just the tempo with which she plays. I'm so glad that she's kind of taking control of this offensive set for China.
It's 6-4, China down by 2, but they're coming back big time here on this warm afternoon in Chengdu. That's a flyer, it's out of here. So Mao just putting it wide. Just having a look at the skies above as well, Robin. I got a feeling there could be a little bit of rain around this beautiful stadium. Not sure where it's coming from, but we'll keep that one under spotlight and observation. Back here on the stadium, USA get possession. Hayes down the line. This is looking more hopeful for the USA team as they come across. Want to score this and get into the halftime sheds. Finley is there, and this is happy for Brownlee. So Brownlee, in the space of a couple of American moves, pulls down another one for them. They go to 7, and that will be the halftime break.
You know, if you're China, even though this last possession might seem quick, you can see that there are some real bright spots. We got to see, you know, Claire Trope was actually the first look in the end zone, and she got shut down by Wong, who did a really great job. Let's see if we can get another look at this score. The man-matching players were looking to do some help. They forced the United States to have to throw a couple of extra passes before finding that unguarded Marquez Brownlee in the back corner.
It's halftime here, and it's USA 7, China is 4. Robin, your thoughts?
You know, for China, they don't have to win this game to feel good about their performance. You know, right now, they've shown that they're not willing to give up. I think this may be the first game that we've seen where they've gotten a break in the first half. So showcasing some variety defensively. I really liked that zone set that they threw in the 6th point. They forced 26 passes, and when you force 26 passes, that's 26 opportunities to try to get a block. It's really hard to get a block when a team only throws 1 or 2 passes, especially when they're scoring as efficiently as the United States. So you want to force more passes to put your defenders in places to make those plays. And I think that again, the Chinese coaching staff should be quite happy with how their offensive set adapted. I loved seeing both Wei and Wang drop into the backfield. The other 2 games from China, we've seen a very man-matching player dominant handler set. In here, especially in transition, we got to see their women matching players honestly put a clinic on how to break the mark and move the disc quickly.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's the situation at halftime then. You can see on the screen, it's China 4, USA 7. We're going to come back after the break. We'll take a bit of a break here with the crowd and summarize what we think is going to happen. A big second half in prospect here at the World Games 2025 Chengdu. It's mixed ultimate flying disc. It's USA 7, People's Republic of China 4. We'll be back in a moment.
运动无限期，向往前行的进入中场时刻。马上进行的第一环节是我们的出场互动问答。我们将在观众席抽取3名幸运观众参与到我们的互动问答当中。我们看向场边的大屏幕，抽取第1位幸运观众。好，屏幕前这位男士。OK， 我们看向场边的问题。第1题。飞盘逆风飞行时，选手通常会采用 A 低位方式 ，B 高位方式。告诉我你的选择是选择 A 选项，我们来看正确答案。好，恭喜你回答正确。让我们的工作人员把奖品送到他的手上。就是第2位观众。我们看他的声音可以再大一点。好，就是屏幕上这位女士。然后我们一起看向场边的问题，一道非常简单的送分题。在团队飞盘比赛中，用哪个部位进行飞盘 ？A 手 ，B 脚。告诉我你的选择是。选择 A 选项，我们来看正确答案。好，恭喜你回答正确。我们还要抽取最后1位幸运观众。我们的声音可以再大一点。OK， 屏幕前的这位
Games 2025 Chengdu. We're at the mixed ultimate flying disc competition. There's the scoreline at the end of the first half. Team USA 7, China 4. And I tell you what, although China's down on the scoreboard, if it comes down to fight and pluck, they're certainly level with this juggernaut of a team at the moment. USA got a few thoughts, I think, at the end of that first half, Robin. Robin Fennick is here alongside me. Robin?
Yeah, you know, for folks who are expecting to see, you know, the United States just completely rout the Chinese team, you have to be, you know, maybe disappointed, but I think I expected exactly what we're seeing, where this Chinese team is really motivated to give their best game to the Americans. You know, the United States offense has had 2 turnovers and, quite honestly, 3 turnovers, and the Chinese defense was able to punch in one of those break shots. So they've gotten opportunities, and I really like the offensive change to have the women matching players kind of drive the offensive attack from the backfield, allowing some of their man matching players to get open for big gains downfield, especially when the American man matching defenders are poaching and trying to help, maybe trying to do a little bit too much downfield.
So there it is then, it's all set up for this second half. And the crowd could become a little bit of a factor here as well a little bit later on this afternoon, as China is certainly showing signs that they're not going away anywhere at the moment. The other interesting thing is that if you look skyward, you can just see that slightly grey skyline in the background surrounding this wonderful university facility, and the breeze is just swirling. It doesn't seem to be constant, and I just wonder whether there might be a little bit of precipitation here a little bit later on this afternoon. And when we say precipitation around this place, it can really throw it down.
Yeah, over the weekend I was playing in a local hat tournament, the Chengdu hat, and there were a lot of local and regional players who came to play in that. It was a really great opportunity, but I'll tell you what, it rained so badly on Sunday morning. It postponed some of the events. You know, unlike a regional hat tournament where, you know, you've got a lot of, you know, recreational level players playing, this is the World Games. They're going to play so long as it's not lightning and thundering. We did kind of hear a roll of thunder in the background.
Just as he was speaking.
Yeah, I feel like that's the commentator's curse, as they say. We'll have to see how close it is and if it will impact the restart of play.
People are looking a little skyward here as well, and I'm just wondering what might happen and what our contingencies are. We might have to take stock. I'm not sure whether the officials are a little bit concerned about this. It's the first time we've seen it. It's the first time it's impacted us. Situation is, of course, that into day 3 we've had very warm, bright conditions, but this wind has been swirling in the last 20 minutes or so. Sun's still out here at the stadium, but we can see off to our left.
I have not heard any official words from the World Flying Disc Federation, the International Federation for Ultimate, if there will be any delays. We have not heard anything official through the communication channels, but we see game advisors kind of running out to the field, looking like the coaching staff for the U.S. and the game advisors are grabbing all of their belongings that are down on the field and looking like they're seeking shelter.
Well, it's probably an opportune time if they're going to delay things, really. USA leading at the moment.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're China, you're maybe disappointed about this extended break, because you were really starting to get some momentum going at the end of the second half there. We're still waiting for confirmation about what will be happening. It sounds like there is a lightning delay in effect.
So I can see a couple of the World Flying Disc Federation officials here, maybe just making a little bit of a move. Just waiting for some clarification here.
And you can still see, though, that the Chinese fans are out. They're dancing. They're having a good time. They're engaged. They're waiting for play to restart. As we zoom out and kind of get a wider view of what the weather looks like, you can see that there are some thunderstorms approaching. And the PA announcer is sharing that there has been a delay. They've asked folks to stay where they are and not walk around. And some ominous clouds starting to roll in.
And these are the clouds that we've been keeping an eye on, Robin, are they not? Just above the big high light towers over there. You can see off to the left of shot.
And the World Flying Disc Federation still sorting out the details of how long this delay could be as they're tracking the weather coming into the area.
And that's a northeasterly direction by my count. Directly overhead it looks pretty clear, but this thunderhead is just built up ominously and very quickly to our north here, and you can maybe in the background just hear the slight rumble of thunder.
Yeah, and unfortunately, thunder and lightning are really the only playing condition that these athletes are not expected to endure, obviously because of safety. But I've seen, as being someone from the upper Midwest in the United States, I've even played in snow, in hail, in sleet, but it is, again, not allowable to play in thunder and lightning.
So yes, just getting confirmation from headquarters that we're probably going to have a bit of a break ourselves and just seek cover as well, Robin, for our safety, I think, just in case anything gets a little bit too zappy around here. So what we might do is just recap the situation here as we go to a weather break. Not unusual in the world of ultimate disc. It has happened obviously in the past, hasn't it? That
yes,
these sorts of breaks.
The World Club Ultimate Championships were in Cincinnati, Ohio in 2018, and there was some severe weather that actually postponed play. The fields were so drenched with torrential downpour and the severe weather was so unsafe that they actually moved the World Championship semifinals to indoors and the gold medal match indoors at kind of an indoor American football setting. It's big enough to put in an entire full field
massive,
of ultimate. Yeah,
incredible.
And it was really quick action by the World Flying Disc Federation to secure an alternate venue. And I'll tell you what, I have never been part of a more electric semifinal and World Championship game before in my life. I actually got to call the Women's World Championship in that venue. The fans were just on the sideline. It was echoing with energy, kind of like how we hear it and are experiencing it for these China games.
Yeah.
Thousands of players were packing the facility to catch a glimpse of the action. It was a very high energy, kind of my favorite spectator moment, honestly, of my Ultimate Frisbee career.
We're going to take a break here. We've just been told by headquarters that play has been suspended, as you can see on the animation there at the moment. Just letting you know that earlier on today it was, there were some interesting lineups in Australia going down to Canada, Germany over Japan, and now at the moment it's USA over China. They lead 7-4. The wind is picking up. You can see that this big thunderhead is moving in from the northeast direction over this extraordinary facility. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. As soon as the weather clears, we'll be back to call the second half. But for the moment, from the World Games 2025 here in Chengdu, we'll take some cover as the thunder starts to rumble overhead.
了，他们说了。
在座的观众可以一起来合唱成都。这边的观众可以一起来合唱。在座的观众可以一起来。谢谢各位，让我们把掌声送给我们自己。 我再次把掌声送给我们自己全场的观众朋友们！我们的比赛即将开始，现在要为所有运动员加油助威。首先，请全场的观众告诉我，这座城市的名字是？这里是。
Clear out as soon as possible after this game is over. And grab all your stuff, clear the tents.
So maybe you could suggest both teams to do the street circle inside or something?
That's a good idea. Maybe you can do it in the big hallway area once it's cleared out from the other teams.
Okay.
I like that idea.
And welcome back to us here at the World Games 2025 in Chengdu. As you can see, we're in the midst of a Group A showdown between Team USA and the People's Republic of China. It is 7-4 in favor of the visitors here at the moment, and that after a 45-minute delay. We had a little bit of a northerly thunderstorm roll across this wonderful stadium a little earlier on this afternoon. And Robin, you and I thought you were very, very brave underneath your umbrellas there at one stage when it started to swirl around and water came crashing down over the desk. But we're back and we're just about to get started.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we were able to restart play in this game. It was really unclear with the way the storms were developing what the restart situation was going to be. For those of you just joining, we are restarting out of halftime. Fortunately, the break just kind of extended the halftime, and the athletes were able to stay near the stadium and able to warm up quickly.
They have done all that. We're ready to go. China, as we left before the break, were mounting something of a comeback here, much to the enjoyment of this large crowd, as you can see up there in the stadium. And during that break, more have joined, and they could really roar this team home.
The first half, we got to see a more women matching player dominant handler set from the Chinese offense. I thought that it looked very, very clean, very quick tempo. I loved to see Wei and Wang breaking the mark so effortlessly. They played with such fast pace but never rushed. I really liked this attack. It opened up really like big gain continue cuts for some of the more speedy man matching players on the Chinese roster. And I would love to see them lean into that more in this second half. USA, you know, they have not played a particularly clean game. You know, there's only 5 turns from the Chinese offense to 3 against the Americans. Obviously, the US able to convert on 3 of their break chances, but China actually got their first half break to bring it within 5-3. So I think that the Chinese have a little bit more fight left in them and maybe have an advantage used to the local Chengdu conditions that are kind of maybe unfamiliar for some of the Americans who are on this roster.
Yeah, I just wonder whether these slightly wetter conditions will have a little bit of an impact as well. The stop-go motion, people will be sliding around a little bit out there as well. But it looks like we're just about ready to rock and roll here. So the second half resumes with the USA leading 7-4. And you can probably hear in the effects microphone in the background, huge support here for the People's Republic.
10 seconds to go.
7 seconds to go, according to the game advisor.
Go as I'm up.
So Dawn Coulton takes hold of the Frisbee, hands it on to Kayla Helton here. And they're away. Team USA leading, inviting China's offense to come and have a crack at them. This fabulous and famous American defensive side now. See if they can contain this sprightly Chinese side, and wet discs maybe could be an issue here this afternoon. That's a spill that the Chinese didn't want early on. Liu going to try and make amends as he comes round here. And again you see this disc. Robin, wet conditions, what's the story?
You know, anytime the disc gets wet, it's very hard to handle, whether that's as a thrower or a receiver. You see a lot of the players on Team China have now put on gloves. That will surely help them handle the disc more reliably on their releases and their catches.
Look at Freechild all over Liu there. And a little bit of contact. So Team USA coming out and playing in their faces. Dawn Coulton here involved in this one.
Michael, take the whole time.
So while there's a stoppage, Robin, maybe you can explain to those new to the sport just about the refereeing here, how it works in this game.
Well, so the players are self-officiating this match, so that means they're responsible for calling their own violations and fouls. So we can see that Wei believes that she was fouled on her throwing attempt, and it looks like she was knocked down. It's unclear which player caused the contact. Dawn Colton
What are we
from
gonna
the
do?
U.S.
We need an
maintaining
outcome
she
here.
did not.
There was contact here. I think the mark was far enough away. Yep.
The disc coming back into play, into the hands of Wei, who's just been phenomenal this game.
So Liu then gets hold of the disc, far side. Look at Freechild all over him at the moment. Really aggressive defense. Freechild setting a mark here, and the rest of the US team.
You could see that Wei had obstructed Ng from being able to play defense.
Coming in low, good control by China. Once again, another low shot, but good enough. Into Zhu. Liu, round the corner. Up to Zhang. Looking good here for China. Zhu again. Back to Liu, looking for some options. Gets him on the inside. Heavy marking here. That's Wei on the inside.
Looked like Henry Ng was picked by Kayla Helton, who is marking Wei. Now, when Ng is playing defense, he is not really allowed to be obstructed by either his own teammate or an opposing teammate. And that's because the ultimate field is really big. So if Henry Ng was full out sprinting, you don't want him to be crashing into his smaller teammate or one of his smaller opponents. You want him to be able to sprint and decelerate safely. Yeah, I think what he was saying is the disc should stay with Zhou, and that he just was obstructed from being able to set a mark and prevent an additional pass.
So Zhou then holds the disc over the top. This is a chance, but outreached by Michael Ng. Gets hold of it and sets the course for home here. This is going to be a timed leap over the side, and Groom comes home for it. Little bit of a 1-2 between she and Henry Ng there, so they get the goal.
And it's such a luxury for the American defense to have defenders like Henry Ng and Marquez Brownlee, who are taking handlers. So as soon as Michael Ng is able to secure that block, he can bring it into play and throw to a very tall, athletic, fast receiver like his brother Henry, who gets up. Cammie doesn't quite jump it into the end zone, has to bring it back to the front, a little give-go movement, and Henry secures the score.
So nice work then by Team USA, and they move out by another goal. Claire Trope gets the action started. China, offensive team. On the inside, Wei looking for options. Comes out wide to Guo. Wei again, cross field, looks good. On to Guo again, nicely connected. Wei is available, doesn't go there. Guo going long. Despite the attacking defense there, China good enough for the spill. So Wei just gets the shot around the corner. Here comes Team USA, this defensive outfit, notorious for being able to convert chances. Brownlee, looking down the line, Trope. And a nice interference there.
Guo has been such a great defender for this Chinese defense, earning the disc back with such a great defensive bid against Chris Kocher.
China looking for some options. Li wants to go inside. Zheng moving, coming around midfield. Mao down the line. Good control by China. Big floater. Needed to lunge at that. Go just sending it a little long out of the despairing hands of Wei.
Oh, and that's a tough turnover. I could really see what Gao was trying to do with the disc there. You know, seeing that the defender was face guarding, putting the disc out to space, but Chris Kocher was able to peel off his assignment and put some pressure. Really forced Wei to have to go and attack the disc earlier than she would have liked to. And gets the disc back for USA.
USA then coming back. Brownlee looking out there to Groom. Brownlee. Groom making some space on the inside. Another intercept here, and they can go long, they can go hard. Interference there by Bloomfield.
Marquez Brownlee gets up and able to disrupt that pass after, you know, Zhang attacked deep immediately.
Brownlee in control. Oh, Groom unable to pick it up off the bootlaces. Once again, China has another attacking option here. Chastain trying to upset this attacking move here. This is Mao. Options on the inside. China storming into the red zone. Coming across. Whoa.
And it looks like a pick was called. You know, a lot of the Chinese players are actively moving in front of the disc, and so that's creating these opportunities for picks, which disrupts the defensive and offensive rhythm.
Whoa, little give-go here. Looking inside. Wants some options. And again, another interference. Nice work there by Kocher. Goes long. And Cami Groom gets hold of it. Chastain now. Goes back. Kocher looking infield. Anna Thompson. And there it is. On the end of it again. None other than Claire Trope.
I was really hoping that China was going to be able to convert on one of those red zone possessions. The Chinese offense looks so good in big space, and when they get the disc up to the front cone of their end zone and really shrink the field, the advantage really seems to shift to the American defenders, who are willing to just stay tight on their matchup. Here we get to see the American offense. You can see how much more patient they are. There's only one or two people cutting at any given time. And because of that, it's a lot easier for those cutters to work in isolation without having to change directions to avoid picks, the way that we're seeing with the Chinese offensive set.
So USA have scored. They'll send this disc downfield. China offense getting ready to come back and have a crack. It's 9-4, Team USA lead. Here comes China. From deep into the zone, Li gets it. Liu is on standby for some assistance if needed, looking for some longer options. Liu is there, just snuck away. Hayes takes it off him, and that's good by Team USA. Didn't quite make it, according to Freechild. So he'll go out to Karen Finney. Freechild again. Overlapping here, coming around Team USA, just looking for some angles. Hayes is providing, and that's nice. Accepting it on the knees. Team USA get the other gold medal there.
We see Don Colton electing to kind of slide to catch that disc as opposed to, you know, fully laying out. Let's get another look at this turnover. You can see as Liu is attacking upfield, Shu is a little slow to clear space, and Rafi Hayes is able to disrupt that pass. Let's get another look at this catch by Dawn Colton. You see she elects to kind of do a knee slide. I like that instead of the full outstretched layout, because with the disc being wet, getting your body behind the disc with that pancake style of catch is a way easier maneuver to track the disc. And if Dawn is unable to secure it because it's wet, she can use her body to trap the disc. That's a very veteran adjustment for the conditions.
Zhu is out. Gonna try and attack this US team. They lead 10-4. So here comes China. Brownlee with a big roller here, deep into the end zone for China. Got a full 100 meters to travel now as they progress the disc. Got to be careful here. Looking for options in field.
It looks like Anna Thompson maybe stepped on the foot of Mao. You see his cleat is on the ground behind him. His teammate throws it back at him so he can put it back on his foot.
Was there any call other than the foul call? Okay, great.
So Mao then just booting up again.
Okay, it's an accepted foul. So this happened. No.
China.
It's a discussion where the disc needs to go back. I saw the foul call before the disc was moved. So, happened well before the disc moved. Yeah. Are you saying this affected you, that you stopped? So the disc should go back. The disc is over there.
You're on stall one, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. And further back? I was looking at the goal line, so that's why. Is that okay for everybody? Or if not, we can adjust. Okay. They all stopped way before this happened. That's why the disc, they wanted the disc to go back.
Game advisor helping the players work things out so that we put the disc into play correctly.
Su Gu then looking for some options on the inside. China mounting an attack here. They want to come down through the middle. Zheng long, and that's nice. Whoa on the end of it. China happy with that. They get their 5, Robin.
That inside break that opened up the fast break on that far sideline was such a nice throw. You can see that Zhang gets down low, takes advantage of that poach by Grant Lindsley, and just an immediate turn and attack downfield. I really liked the footwork by Gua on that catch. Able to go up, and he looks down to make sure this first point of contact is inbounds. That is a great piece of offense by the Chinese.
So it's 10-5. China not being written off here by Team USA at the moment after that rain interruption here. The skies are clearing overhead, and that's good news for our later match. It's France versus Colombia, the all-important showdown in Pool B between those two coming up as well. Might be a little bit delayed here. It was time to start at 5:30 local, but it just depends on how much longer we need to complete this particular match. This could go some way because China coming back.
And there were more turnovers in the second point out of half than there were in the entire game so far. And obviously, with the conditions drying out a little bit, it's too humid to really fully dry things off, but we'll see how they continue to impact this game.
So here comes Team USA through the middle. Rafi Hayes on the end of this. And that's Helton.
That deep cut by Kayla Helton was so effectively set up. When Rafi Hayes starts to come back towards the disc on the throw, Kayla works hard to drive her defender under so that she's able to start this deep cut from a reasonable distance. She doesn't want to be too far downfield so that Rafi has to throw the disc to the back of the end zone. Because Kayla drove her defender under, Rafi can throw that to space and just get Kayla in the front of the end zone, kind of decreasing the flight of the disc, and it makes it a more reliable throw. That's just a savvy veteran cut by Kayla Helton.
Looking pretty happy with that. So it's 11-5, China trailing Team USA. China offense will want to come down here now and get something back out of this little sequence of play. Oh, goodness gracious, that's not what they wanted to start this sequence off with. It just floated in front of the two of them. Chastain then looking for some work on the inside. Got some more on the far side. Comes across to Brownlee. Looking sideways. Chastain offers an option down the center. Ing is there as well if she wants him. Brownlee will do. Chastain goes. Round the side. No, not at the moment. Brownlee again. USA stacking into the end zone. And that's a little wayward. Hannah Thompson couldn't get on the end of that. China is bolting downstream at the moment, but held up with good American D. Way here, holds things for a moment. Zhang goes long. Here's an opportunity, but it's plucked out of the sky.
You know, if the defender has Ing on the back of their jersey, you do not want to test them in the air. Even though Michael Ing looked a little bit tired, he was asking for a flat mark to prevent that throw. And even though when the disc went up, he looked like he was exhausted, you saw him turn the jets on and get up to make the play.
And how often does he do that, Robin? Don't we see that so often? He's Mr. Reliable in those crunch moments.
Yeah, and I think he's been one of the best defenders for the American team. You know, maybe trying to compete with his brother, who's definitely known for some of those high-flying blocks, but Michael Ing is such a versatile defender. You get to see him play shutdown D on handlers in the backfield, just excellent footwork, and he's so explosive in the air that when someone does test him in the deep space, he's really good at closing that gap and taking the inside route so that he can high point and challenge the receiver's intended route.
Can I just say that Chastain very vocal there in that little huddle with the US team. What do you reckon's going on there?
You know, Claire is actually one of the more veteran players on this line for the World Games for Team USA. You know, she's also a very vocal, fiery player, very vocal leader for her club team, Molly Brown, in the United States. And she's a very, like, demanding teammate in the way that she, like, motivates everybody around her. I love her leadership style on the field. So
USA, and that's a big problem for them. And this is open. And China come back through now. Zhang.
You know, and the way that point started with kind of that miscommunication, to see them be able to put together a quick, short field possession, I'll continue to communicate anytime that as a defensive team, you can generate short field turns and immediately attack into the end zone, that's going to result in a much easier scoring attempt than when you have to work it with many passes in the red zone. Just a really great read to get a catch block to intercept the pass like that.
And Zhang really lapping it up. So it's 11-6, Robin. China, they're quitting themselves well here.
You can tell the body language by this team in white today. It seems relaxed. You can see smiles on their faces. They're having fun. They're really enjoying this match.
Okay, so here comes the US offensive side. Freechild around the corner. Hayes has got the disc. Freechild offering options inside. Ing is out the back. Lindsley. Lots of options inside. Hayes is there, goes to him. Can see Ing moving up into the red zone, moving into the end zone. Rafi Hayes probably spotted him, not going there at the moment. Hayes just setting things up in the middle. Doesn't want to go too aggressive at this stage. This is Helton, Hayes. And just a footfall there, just slipped on this wet turf. We're back after the wet break.
And
Robin.
If we can see that China could just put together a good offensive possession. Chu dropped it right at the last minute as he hit the ground. Oh, he was not able to hold on to it. And you could hear this crowd all but assumed it was an easy score. What a nice cut. You see Leo gets power position in front of Dylan Freechild and puts out a disc that only Chu can get. You see right here, he hits the ground, his elbow kind of hits the ground, and he loses at the bottom of the disc.
USA coming back then. Freechild. Finney goes long. And here's the man, Lindsay, just floats it over the corner. I tell you what. Felton had to do a little bit there to get hold of that one. It was a little overplayed, don't you think?
Yeah, you know, the fact that we've waited this long to get a signature Kayla Helton layout score, you know, Carolyn Finney saw that Joe was really had his back turned in that matchup downfield and put a very hot backhand to Grant Lindsley. And again, that signature Kayla Helton, just explosive dive. Great read by Grant Lindsley. You know, again, puts it out a little bit too far. It could have been an easier catch, but I've seen that since the beginning of my Ultimate career. Kayla and I both played college Ultimate at the same time, and she was often featured for her layout catches, even back as far as 2008, 2009, 2010. Just such an explosive crossover athlete from soccer.
Well, here comes China then. They're going to be given the disc, and they've got to work some magic, and they've got to progress at this 100 meters up this wonderful field, because if they don't, Team USA are going to finish over the top of them. Okay, here comes China against the world champs. Wei looking for some options, and sport there by Chastain. Team USA going to try and finish things off here. Trope around the corner, looking good. She'll receive again, looking for options further forward. There's Brownlee. Out the back there is Grant, and that doesn't need to go that far. So Ing then, Michael Ing this time, and that's it. It's 13, Robin. It's China 6, and the world champs have done it.
You know, I was really sad for China, because it really could just be 12-7 right now. Great defensive play by Claire Chastain, and I liked that Lee did not call the foul on that block. There was some physicality, some physical contact, but I appreciated that she didn't call it just because she could, because it didn't impact the outcome of the play. And then the U.S. is able to turn that into fast break offense, what we saw 2 points ago from China, where they had that short field turnover and turned it into an immediate score. That's exactly what we saw from the U.S. right there.
So there it is then, after a rain delay. China not wiped off the board, very plucky in places, and they finish up with a deficit of 13-6 to Team USA. But good signs for China. And you were saying off air, Robin, that China come up against Australia in the playoffs a little bit later on in the rounds?
Well, we don't know that yet. So right now, Australia and China both sit at the bottom of their respective pools, and so there's consolation play for the bottom 4 teams from the pool stage. And so there will be like a semifinal, a 5 through 8 semifinal. Right now, we're still waiting to see who from Pool B will be the crossover opponent for the Chinese team. But you know, there is a potential for China to meet Australia, and I like that matchup because I think China they have so much grit, they have so much heart, and I think that their play style has shown that they're adaptable and they can lean into the strengths of different players depending on what the opposing defense kind of throws at them. You know, here we got to see a more women matching player driven offense. You know, the first game we saw some really amazing play by Mao from the backfield. Last game, yesterday, we got to see Lee as kind of the big distributor. And then this game, we saw Wei really take control. So really different tempo, really different options between who's kind of quarterbacking the offense. I really like this Chinese team and how they've adapted and grown throughout the tournament.
Standings then in Group A, but Team USA come away with another big win here. They've done it over host nation China, plucky in places, but the US machine just eventually rolling over them 13-6. We had the rain delay, conditions a little bit soft and a little bit slippy. We saw that effect in the games as well. Lights will be coming on.